There are two ways to change rotary axis limits. Either you change the rotary axis limits using Edit button next to Kinematics, or using the Kinematics Settings tab inside Cutting Modes. If you click the Edit button next to Kinematics on the left, you change the rotary axis limits in general. In other words, all operations, which are using this machine kinematics, are affected from the changes you made here. Now I am changing the tilting axis, or in other words rotary axis 1, maximum limit to 30 degrees. After this change, rotary axis 1 limit will be 30 degrees for all operations, which are using this machine general kinematics. I will explain in a moment what it means to use machine general kinematics, and how to deactivate general kinematics inside operations. Also note that Kinematics Edit button will only be visible when you select 5-axis milling machines and mill turns with B-axis head. In other machines, you will not see the Edit button next to Kinematics. For such machines, where Edit button is not visible, you have to change the kinematics settings from the Cutting Mode tab inside Operations. Let's now see how to change kinematics settings inside Cutting Modes. Keep in mind that, if you change the kinematics settings inside a cutting mode, the change you make will only affect the operations, which are using this cutting mode. I will open the TCPC cutting mode, which is defined on the top level of the operation tree. TCPC cutting mode is used by simultaneous and angular head operations, as shown here. Now, I will open the Kinematics Settings tab of the TCPC cutting mode. As you can see, as default, Use Machine Kinematics is selected for all cutting modes. This means that, in this postprocessor, all cutting modes are using the general kinematics defined by the Edit button on the left. And since I just changed the rotary axis 1 limit to 30 degrees in general, now I see 30 degrees in every cutting mode. And now I will deselect Use Machine Kinematics only in TCPC cutting mode. When I deselect this option, I can modify the limits for the TCPC cutting mode only. Now, here, I am changing the maximum limit for rotary axis 1 back to 45 degrees. This change only affects the operations using TCPC cutting mode, which are simultaneous and angular head operations in this postprocessor. Other operations will continue to use the general kinematics, and therefore they will not be affected from this change.